So Valorant just released a 7.04 patch, and this might just be the most controversial update yet. This act, we see many changes to some of our favorite agents, with most of them increasing their ult cost by 1 point. Many players will probably disagree with some of the changes shown in these patch notes, especially ones later in the video. So let's go ahead and take a look at Valorant patch 7.04 changes for episode 7, act 2. Up first, we have Breach. In patch 7.04, Breach's Aftershock loses one of its ticks, leaving him with only 2 hits instead of the usual 3. This change also increases the ability's damage to 80, adding an extra 20 damage to the mix, and making the ability overall more deadly, since it can now deal over 150 damage in 2 hits. The final change to Breach's utility is that now his ultimate costs an extra ult point, bumping it up to 9 ult points. Moving on to the next part of this patch, I'm going to skim over them because they all change the same aspect of these agents. In episode 7 act 2, Brimstone, Killjoy, and Viper all had 1 extra ult point added to acquire their ults. So now Brimstone needs 8 instead of 7, Killjoy requires 9 points instead of 8, and Viper's ult now also costs 9 ult points. The devs didn't give an explanation as to why they are increasing the cost of these ults, but I can only assume in the future we might see more changes coming to these agent kits. Up next, we have some Fade changes. Fade now takes longer to re-equip her gun after using her Prowler. Once again, there were no dev notes, but I believe it's due to Fade's ability to instantly peek after using her Prowler, getting value from it without actually inflicting blindness to anyone. Next, Gecko. His Molly Mosh Pit now does 10 damage every second in the impacted area. Wingman had his health reduced from 100 to 80 health, and the last changes to Thrash, and according to the developers, Thrash's explosion had a little makeover to make it easier to see and understand the area it has affected, on top of being beautiful. Omen also received a minor change to his Paranoia. Now when casting, there will no longer be any more impaired movement. I'm not sure exactly what this is referring to, but my only guess is the fact that Omen's Paranoia used to travel further than intended when running forward. Next on the list is Skye. She received a few nerfs on everything in her kit except for her heals. Her Guiding Light, aka her Flash, had its active time reduced from 2.5 seconds to 2 seconds. Trailblazer has also received a reduction in its health from 100 to 80. And lastly, her ultimate, Seekers, had its ult requirement bumped up by 1 point, now costing a total of 8 points, while also receiving a nerf to its health, bumping it down from 150 health to 120. The dev notes attached to these nerfs read, Skye has become a keystone of the current meta through her blend of recon and space-taking utility. While we like that she can potentially unlock new comps through this combo, we think that she has lacked clear weaknesses compared to her peers, given the wide range of value she brings. These changes reduce the distance in which Guiding Light can provide info. Changes also help reduce the amount of time enemies need to worry about her Flash when she flies it at great distances without activating it. We've also reduced the health of Trailblazer and Seekers to make them slightly easier for enemies to deal with. Skye's ultimate cost will increase to better reflect the high level of baseline value it provides. We'll be keeping a close eye on these updates to see if they push the choice competition between Skye and her peers into a healthy place, or if further updates are needed in either direction. Sova's Recon Bolt also received a nerf. It had its scans reduced from 3 to 2 scans. Moving on, Astra also received some changes, with the Gravity Well receiving decent nerf, with its startup time increasing from 0.6 seconds to 1.25 seconds. Her Nova Pulse gained a slight buff with its startup time decreasing from 1.25 seconds to 1 second. According to the dev notes, we've noticed a large power disparity between Astra's Gravity Well and Nova Pulse. Our goal is to create a clearer use cases for both abilities. Gravity Well will be Astra's tool for controlling space, and Nova Pulse for quickly affecting an area. At the same time, we hope to reduce some of her oppressive and long duration pressure Astra's stars produce by providing enemies a chance to push past activated Gravity Well during its wind-up period if they act quickly. And lastly, her Cosmic Divide now completely blocks sound instead of muffling them.
My ult's ready.
with the devs having this to say. We're updating Cosmic Divide to help clarify the overall game state by eliminating uncertainty around whether you or your enemies are close enough to the wall to be heard. We also think this gives Astra's wall a clearer power profile for her and her allies to play around. Overall, I definitely think this is a positive change for Astra, and I'll definitely be playing her more. Finally, we have the dreaded Jett nerfs. Jett's tailwind had its dash window decreased from 12 seconds to 7.5 seconds. The dev notes read, at 12 seconds, Jett could often find value activating her dash without clear intention or make incorrect calls, but still have time to find another use for the dash. Shortening this window pushes Jett to be more deliberate with her calls and reduces Tailwind's power at defensively holding angles while minimally impacting her ability to proactively use the dash to break onto site. They also increased the activation windup from 0.5 seconds all the way to 1 full second. Increasing Tailwind's windup should promote proactive use by reducing Jett's ability to activate it reactively when caught off guard or in the middle of a fight and successfully escape. Her smoke also received a nerf, with its duration decreasing from 4.5 seconds to 2.5 seconds, as well as taking longer to re-equip her gun after use. We want to reduce some of the persistent safety Jett gets dashing into or escaping with smokes, sharpening Cloudburst to be a fast but powerful tool that forces players to be quick and precise with their decisions. Jett also loses one of her updrafts, with the devs having to say, with 2 updrafts, we've seen moments where Jett escapes situations where they've been tactically outplayed by throwing enemies off by relying on the updraft's unpredictable movement. We hope to reduce some of its unhealthy movement extremes. Updraft can produce an increased importance of swinging at the right time. Even if it was not stated in the dev notes, this nerf also removes some of the crazy Sage or Deadlock wall boosts we've seen in the past few days. And the last nerf coming to Jett in the Valorant patch 7.04 is her ultimate points increasing by 1, leaving her with 8 points required for her ultimate. Jett's ultimate has proven one of the most flexible, reliable, and economically powerful gun replacement ultimates because of its lack of a timer, reset on kills, and harmony with Jett's movements. This change should bring Bladestorm up to the same cost of comparable weapon ults such as the Tour de Force and Showstopper. And that concludes the Valorant patch 7.04 for episode 7 act 2. It's interesting to see so many different changes to the agents, especially the few agents who've gained an extra ult point. With these changes, we'll definitely see Jett's pick rate plummet, or at least lower a bit, while also seeing many more Astra players. Anyway, that's about it for the changes. Just a reminder that I'm sometimes live on Twitch at twitch.tv/frosted_NA. Bye!